The bloody rocks! Get her over! Over! She won't answer, Mr. Onedin. She's too heavy in the water.
Soon put that to right. Don't you fear.
We've got to jettison cargo. What? As master of this vessel, I say it again, we've got to jettison cargo. I'll tell you, we do no such thing.
Throw away money, and we're as good as in port.
Won't take the responsibility further, sir. Not when she won't answer.
You've got your orders, Captain. We'll run for all.
Now then, eat this. Come on, it's not much, but it's something.
Can I have some, Mum?
Not till your sister's eaten. Oh, build up the fire. It's good gruel. Now eat it up, Mary. Oh, Mary, for God's sake, girl. You must eat, Mary. How can you hope ever to get well if you don't eat?
The singing, Mum. The singing stopped.
Alice! What a way to greet your own flesh and blood.
Uncle Will! Uncle Will, have you brought food for us, Uncle Will?
All that I have, lad. Here, let me get properly in the door.
Thank God you've come, William. Thank God.
Well, I as near as didn't, Alice. We had a close call this trip. The girl.
She's got to be got out of here, William. Worse than ever she is in this place. She'll die.
Got out where?
To the country,
The country.
where the air is clean. See, I've thought about it. If we could find a little place, it doesn't matter how far away. I mean, Edward's a big boy now. He could help with the land, and we could grow enough to keep ourselves.
A place in the country? Woman, you gotta have money to come by things like that.
How much money?
Well, how should I know? £100? Alice, I'm just this minute ashore. And as I told you, it's a mercy I'm here at all.
Couldn't you find Mr. Onedin raise £100?
Mr. Onedin.
Isn't it his fault more than anybody's that we're reduced to a life like this? He brought fever into the port.
Now, Alice.
He brought fever into the port. That meant the drains had to be blown up. So there was the end of our hearth and home. No redress.
Mr. Onedin wasn't to blame.
You stand up for him because you believe your livelihood depends upon it. But that's a mistake too, William. If the day ever dawned when your generous master had no further use for you, you'd not remain his bondman for very long, and well, you know it.
Mum!
Where is she? Will she earn a shilling? I'm paying no more.
Why, they come demanding in places like this.
Who are you, then? I'm paying, aren't I? Shilling! Plenty for the likes of her!
Alice, you ought to be got out of here. God knows how. But I'll find the money one way or another.
Be There's nothing I can do to help you. I'm in trouble. If the repair to the ship is really going to take 6 weeks, I'll have to make some other arrangements. But Braganza's cast must be in Portugal on time.
What about me, sir? What about the crew?
Well, you've your lives, haven't you? It's the way of the sea. You lose one berth, you find yourself another.
Well, you know well enough there's scarce a berth to be had in Liverpool at the present time. And you as good as promised us all this trip before we set sail on the last one.
6 weeks to mend a damned hole.
Well, I was master out there in the storm, and I said jettison the cargo. You told me to the contrary. So when it comes to responsibility for the damage...
Are you trying to tell
James,
me...
don't provoke Mr. Baines.
Ah, provoke him?
You know his reasons for needing employment just now.
And for demanding £100 off me?
Mr. Onedin not demanding, requesting by way of an advance.
I've never heard of an advance to that order being made Admiral of the Fleet, let alone a merchant master.
For the Lord's sake, I must find the money to get my sister and her family out of that doss house.
And I must repair the ship. Without her, we're all done for. Shall I scupper myself to salvage you?
James, Mr. Baines' sister's living in dire circumstances. I've been there and seen for myself.
Look, we've got troubles of our own. I should like to borrow money to get us out of troubles, but the world is not like that. Each man must shoulder his own burden.
Well, that was wanton, sir. What you did out in the storm there, running for home unless the farthing's profit be lost. Now men whose families depend on it are without their livelihood. I call that evil action, sir, I do, wanton.
I've never heard you speak like that before, Mr. Baines.
Well, I'm sorry, ma'am. But it's his doing. I see it all plain now. All that's befallen me and mine is his doing.
Carrie? Carrie Harris?
Yes, what is it?
Oh, there you are. Someone to see you, Carrie.
What, here? A gentleman? Bert, wait a minute. Oh, give over, you lot, will you? Mind out of the way, I want to get this on. Thanks very much. Was it you wanted to see me, then?
Carrie Harris,
Yes, that's right.
the young lady that knew Mr. Albert Fraser I asked for.
Oh? And what might you be to do with Mr. Albert Fraser?
Is there somewhere we could talk?
Shut up, you lot.
I know Mr. Fraser quite well. We're old friends, really. And I heard there was someone here who was a friend of his, too. And I thought I'd like to make her acquaintance.
Hurry it up, girls, hurry it up. Juggler's on and you're on next.
Miss Harris, I'm going to be completely frank with you.
Yes, love. Perhaps that'd be best.
I'm more than a friend of Mr. Fraser's, much more. Or at least I thought I was. But I've just found out that he's a married man.
Dear. So we've been a silly girl, have we?
You knew he was married.
You don't like being seen in a place like this, do you, Duck? It's not your style at all.
Miss Harris, if Mr. Fraser is married, and if he's also been seeing someone like you, well, surely it's obvious.
Do you want a drink?
No, thank you.
Oh, look. There's one born every minute, isn't there? Us women need to benefit from each other's experience. Always make sure they pay up, eh?
Pay up?
Well, what else? Girl's the one with most to lose. Anyway, a gentleman ought to pay for his pleasures. It's only right.
Are you trying to tell me that Mr. Fraser actually gave you money for...
Well, didn't he you?
No. No, of course not.
Then you've learned something, haven't you? You know better next time. Look, £10 all I had. And even to get that, I had to pretend.
No ships at all available for charter.
That is the sad fact, I'm afraid, James. I mean, look at these lists for yourself. Oh, there are clippers enough in port. If you have a couple of £100 available to pay in advance. We gave the tea brokers 3 months' grace.
You gave them.
Ah. But as for smaller vessels...
Now, look what the devil am I to do? I must deliver those casks by Friday week, otherwise I'm in breach of agreement with Briganza. And have that parked cargo of cloth ready for loading.
Couldn't you purchase whole space on some other master's ship?
Look, if every ship's chartered, every ship's loaded to the gunnels. No, I must see Briganza myself.
Hey, wait on. There is a ship. The Peabrook, she's called. And she's going out half laden, it seems. Bound for West Africa, too. Now, an obliging skipper might call in at Lisbon on his way, if you made it worth his while.
The Peabrook. Not heard of her, huh?
Easy now. Straight down. Easy. Take the strain. Easy, I said! Get this cleared up.
Morning. My name's Onedin. I'd like to see the captain, please.
You'll find him in his cabin.
Oh, by the way, what cargo is she carrying?
Blankets, glassware and Bibles.
West Africa, eh?
Where else?
Peabrook. She's new to me.
New to most of us aboard. She's worked out of Port of London this last 3 years, for that Clyde side.
Do with a lick of planes.
We'll need a man to show you to the master's quarters.
Good day to you, Captain. My name's James.
Why, Mr. Onedin, welcome aboard the Peabrook, sir. My new command. One I was lucky to be offered, no doubt.
No, Elizabeth, surely you're mistaken.
Her name is Carrie Harris, a cheap little entertainer, Anne, a music hall girl. And Albert is paying her for her favors.
I don't understand. Elizabeth, men don't go to women like that unless...
Unless what?
Is there no hope for it?
I believe you offered me some tea.
How did you learn about this Carrie Harris?
Well, by complete chance, I ran into Daniel Fogarty. Something he said made me suspicious.
I see. Daniel Fogarty.
As I said, the meeting was a chance one. He did call at the house one day to see young William. Well, I suppose that's his right from time to time. After all, he is William's father.
Albert's had a lot to forgive you for, one way and another, Elizabeth. Perhaps you should think of that now. What do you mean to do?
I shall leave Albert, of course.
What?
I'm not going to be made a laughingstock just so that he can enjoy his tawdry pleasures. A common actress known to one and all to have taken my place in his affections.
It is not known to one and all.
It shall be made known.
You can't leave Albert. Where will you go?
I'll find somewhere.
Oh, it sounds easy enough.
You left James.
And I suffered, Elizabeth, as well you know.
I can hardly stay under the same roof with Albert after this.
But you must. There's nowhere else.
Thank you for the tea, Anne.
Listen, William isn't Albert's child.
I'm aware of that.
In law, you have no claim on your husband, not the least. If you walk out on the streets, you'll be left there to starve. Elizabeth!
Let go of my arm.
Listen to me.
Let go!
I'm speaking the truth. A woman has no redress in this world. A woman alone has no chance.
I shall not be alone for long. I'm not like you, Anne. I don't have your pride. I'll find someone to take care of young William.
Let go forward! Let go aft! Let go forward! Let go! All well, Mr. Onedin. I heard you'd gone below, so I thought I'd follow to see if there was something not to your satisfaction.
Just checking to see that me cargo was lashed properly. You've no objections, Captain Baines, eh?
None in the world. It's yours and probably paid for.
Yes. Poorly, though.
Eh?
Well, I offered you a share of the profit of my cargo of cloth, but you'd none of it. You'd rather a flat sum. It was a sincere effort to help you, you know. You might find that you've been the loser once we get to Lisbon.
Oh, that's as maybe.
It doesn't worry you.
Oh, I can see to myself, Mr. Onedin. Don't you lose no sleep about that. Anyway, I am obeying my owner's orders.
Owner's orders, eh?
Aye, as fast to run out as sail will allow, and no obligations taken above those already contracted for.
Blankets, beads, Bibles. Strange cargo for a fast run.
Right up, go, Captain!
Aye, Mr. Carlo.
Owner's orders, eh?
If there are any difficulties with the stowage, Mr. Onedin, take them up with my mate, Mr. Carlo.
I wonder they let you accept my cargo as paid freight, seeing they were so anxious to set sail half-loaded. What you have to do, get down on your hands and knees and plead with them.
You're in trouble, sir. And it's not my way to leave a fellow seafarer high and dry, not when I can assist him.
These Bibles and beads.
What about him?
Well, hard to see where the profit lies in a cargo like that.
The West African traders need them to barter with the natives.
No, I know, but the profit must be tuppence halfpenny.
Oh, that's as maybe. There's a big consignment of hides and palm oil to come back, and there's a sight more profit than tuppence halfpenny. And I have to report to the agents in Freetown.
Peabrook. Interesting how you pick up a command, just like that, so conveniently. Don't you think?
We'll just never come to the end of your curiosity, will we now?
She rides a deal lower than you think.
A respectable draft.
She's shipping a lot of water.
I've known other ship more or less be said about it.
Wonder what happened to our last master now.
Eh?
Well, seemed to have taken up your command, voyage and cargo all arranged, and crew aboard. Why was there no master?
How the hell should I know about things like that?
You mean it doesn't matter to you?
I was offered a paying proposition, and I took it up because I couldn't afford not to.
You're very fond of your sister Alice, aren't you, Mr. Baines? And you want to see her living in a decent home again.
What are you trying to say?
Maybe he died, eh? Or retired from the sea, eh?
Who?
The Peabrook's last master.
Have you done, sir?
Plenty of master mariners in Liverpool, some with wider experience than you, yet they chose you. Why was that, Captain Baines, eh?
Now, Mr. Onedin, if you're anxious that it'll come to a fight between us.
No. I never did harm to you or yours, Baines. Not deliberately, eh?
Well, it may be, sir. It may be, but you've done precious little to aid us either. And so, if I can be of no further service to you...
What's the matter with your man down there? Hasn't he got a bunk below?
Bartley? Oh, give him a feather bed below, he still wouldn't use it.
Why not?
Because he always dusses above, that's why. Less chance of the rats of the wild waves getting him, he says. Look, don't fret yourself about him, sir. He's daft. Daft as rabbits.
Bartley, are you awake? Listen to me, Bartley. There's some things I want to know, and maybe you can tell them me. Now, it's worth a florin if you can answer my questions. I hear you shipped aboard the Peabrook the last 5 voyages. Right? She's a queer ship. Something amiss with her. Who was her last master, eh? What was his name?
Are you the one, then? The one?
What one? What are you talking about?
Him. The seafarer's friend. They do say there's such a one. All lies, isn't it? Sailor lads can go to bottom at sea and be damned to 'em. Sailor lads to perish and know what to say.
Bartley of Florida. Now, come on, tell me.
Old Will Rigger. Now, he reckoned things would be different someday. There he is, drowned. There's Al Gibbons. Me, even. Aye. Maybe there's the way of it. Maybe I'm drowned too, and rest is... it's just mad dreams. It's the rats have survived. They don't stay below when it's too late. No fear of that. Sailor lads should take a leaf out of their book. Sailor lads shouldn't stay below on ships like the Mary Blanche.
Mary Blanche?
There's no seafarer's friend, I tell you. None in the wide world.
Yeah, what about the Mary Blanche? Some ship you was on? That went down?
I seen them rats come out of them bales. Everyone thought they was cotton. But the rats knew. Timbers went. Sea was on us all before. Side.
Well, that should do it. Now then, deliver this at once to the editor of the Courier for inclusion in the next edition. We'll squash any rumors about Mr. Fraser's sailor's steamship. Oh, and tell the editor I shall look forward to the pleasure of having lunch with him one day next week.
Look sharp, lad.
Mrs. Onedin.
Mr. Fogarty, I hope I'm not disturbing you at a busy time.
Well, the fact is I have
I'm
a great
sure
deal
you
of...
know I wouldn't dream of calling unannounced unless my business were of the first importance. May I sit down?
Yes.
I'd better say at once that I've come to ask your help.
My help?
Not for myself. For someone for whom in the past I know you've entertained affection. Mr. Fogarty, Why did you tell Elizabeth that her husband was associating with a music hall singer?
Mrs. Onedin.
Do you deny that you told her?
Well, I deny that I knew. I saw Mr. Fraser at Fox's music rooms and observed his interest in a certain party. But I in no way concluded or wished to give the impression that Mrs. Onedin that...
Well, Elizabeth has found out that it's so. And as a result, she means to leave her husband.
Leave him?
Yes.
Well, I fail to see what all this has to do with me. That marriage has been in the doldrums for a long time, from what I gather. I could whistle for a wind if it would help, but apart from
Elizabeth mustn't be allowed to leave her husband, Mr. Fogarty. A woman alone in England today is a woman damned.
My dear Mrs. Onedin, how am I to prevent it?
By speaking to Elizabeth.
I speak to her.
She won't listen to me anymore, nor to anyone else in her family. There must be someone in the wide world whose judgment she still respects.
And you think she will accept my advice? She was expecting my child, asked her to marry me. She refused.
Are you saying you don't care what happens to it?
That's an unfair question. Well, this is all very difficult. As you know, I'm engaged to Miss Emma Callan and...
Well, if you don't want that marriage to run into squalls on its first day out, shouldn't you see to it that Elizabeth set fair on her course? Please, Mr. Fogarty, in spite of the fact she once spurned you, Elizabeth deserves something of you. Hello, Robert.
Oh, Anne, we were waiting on your return. There's someone here I think you must meet. Captain Lubbock.
Mrs. Onedin.
I happened on Captain Lubbock this morning at the insurance office. I was filing applications. Until 3 weeks ago, Captain Lubbock was master of the Peabrook.
Right you are.
What the devil do you think you're doing?
Oh, no, sir, that's my question for you. We've noted your interest in the Peabrook and everything about it. Now we'd like to be told what you're seeking.
She rides too low. Any fool can see that. Shipping more water every day.
Oh, we're bound to get sweating this weather.
It's more than sweating.
Will you come nice and quiet now, Mr. Onedin? It grieved me something wicked to have to put a fellow master under restraint. Especially one, as you could say, taught me the ways of command. What business is it of yours?
What's in those bales?
I've told you, blankets, beads, and Bibles.
Blankets that weigh a ship down. Beads and Bibles that smash in a hatch cover.
Well, I've known plenty of accidents like that in my time.
And a sharp crew you signed on here.
Oh, well, they may not be the best sailors in Liverpool, but...
A lunatic for one.
Oh, Bartley, I mean, well, he works well enough.
He knows what's in those bales.
I don't care what's in them bales. Will you say guns, maybe, or opium? I've known some mighty respectable skippers run things like that and get no bad conscience from it.
Talking about conscience anyway, I know yours well enough. You'd never do anything discreditable just for money now, would you?
What's that?
Money. More than is usual.
If I'm in need of money, Mr. Onedin, you know well enough it's not for myself.
Well, it's a bad arrangement. I've heard of it before. Bigger fee than is usual. Then you agree to forfeit a large part of it if your cargo doesn't get in on time. Compels the skipper to run through all sorts of weather. Run risks. You're afraid that if you was to go down there and open up one of those bales, you'd find something to prove that the odds was already stacked against you.
Fetch Bartley. I want a word with him.
Aye, Captain.
Now, sir. You've got something on your mind, say it now.
The Peabrook, a coffin ship?
Yes, Anne, a coffin ship. That's our fear.
Mind, it's only my opinion, Mrs. Onedin. I make no direct accusations.
I don't understand what you mean, a coffin ship.
I resigned my command of the Peabrook because I considered she was too old and too rotten to put out into deep water anymore. But there she is, halfway to Africa again.
Oh, and on a fast run, too.
Are you suggesting that she isn't safe?
I'm afraid he's suggesting more than that, Anne. He is suggesting that...
Suggesting what? Tell me, please.
A coffin ship, Mrs. Onedin, is one whose days of reliable service are long over. But she's heavily insured. So her owners overload her and order her to deep water trades for the insurance.
Well, what is it?
How the blazes should I know?
Copper dross from the smelting works. Heavy. Found on deck, near the hatch cover, just after that accident with the loading.
Well, it could have come from anywhere.
It come from one of those bales down there. Oh, come on, man, she's shipping water like a sieve, and you know it.
I'm a master mariner, and I'll get her back no matter what she's carrying. They'll have their cargo, Bibles, copper dross, whatever it may be, and I'll have my money to get my sister that place in the country where she can support herself.
Ah, the owners chose the right man for master here. Thinking just like your owners want you to think. But your sister and family, they don't matter here. Ship and crew matter here. Your conduct's likely to prove wanton, Captain. Wanton!
Bartley, Captain.
Soaked as a flounder, you crazy old loon. Can't you even sleep below on a night like this?
Least of all on a night like this, Captain.
Aye. Because it's on a night like this that coffin ships go down. Am I not right, Bartley? Night like this that the Mary Blanche went down, eh? Oh, come on, man. I've just remembered 7 years ago, the Atlantic run. Mary Blanche went down, and the owners claimed from complete loss from the insurers. Only you survived, somehow. It was the rats.
Them rats in bales. I seen them come out from where they'd been nesting, just before she broke asunder. And inside them bales...
Go on.
Iron bars. Where there should have been cotton. Iron bars to sink us all.
The seafarer's friend, Samuel Plimsoll. He wants a line to be put around all ships to mark a level above which they shouldn't be loaded.
To save lives at sea and prevent greedy masters from suicidal profiteering.
But what are we to do now? He'll drown.
No, Anne.
He'll drown, Robert. James will drown.
Steady,
If
lass.
you please, Mrs. Onedin, I may be completely wrong about the Peabrook.
But you don't believe so, do you, Captain?
But why would the owners let James take whole space if all along they knew they only wanted to sink her?
There was space available. It might have created suspicion to refuse.
And my husband's as good as dead already, isn't he? And there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. Daniel, the maid didn't say.
I neglected to give a name. I thought if perhaps Albert were at home...
Albert doesn't spend a great deal of time at home these days. He's busy working on his steamship, and when he's not, he seems to prefer Fox's music rooms.
I know, and it was that I came to talk to you about.
Indeed.
Well, it seems something I said the other day when we met in the library may have caused you to make further inquiries.
Who
and
told you that?
It was not my intention. I honestly didn't...
Was it Anne?
Elizabeth, listen.
Answer me, please.
Well, she's concerned for you, and rightly so. You can't leave Albert. Even if there's some chit of a girl at Fox's, it's nothing for you to get on your high horse about.
Shouldn't I be the judge of that?
Oh, these music hall girls, this kind of thing happens all the time.
Oh, yes. A wife should be tolerant and understanding of her husband's little weakness. I know. Men are all alike, you included, I suppose.
We're not talking about me.
Aren't we? Nevertheless, I should like to know.
Well, you already know, damn you. Wouldn't bother my head with some little doxy.
Then why should I forgive a fault in Albert that I wouldn't have to put up with in you?
Because he's your husband and I'm...
And that's all that matters to you, isn't it? I'm married and therefore someone else is concerned. Nothing to do with the correct and ambitious Daniel Fogarty. Just the mother of his child, not to be seriously considered.
Now, why do you think I'm here if I'm not concerned for you?
Don't forget your hat, Daniel. You've nothing to come back to this house for.
Maybe I have, by God. Maybe I have. One day, my girl, one day, I'll do just what your husband is too weak to do.
What's that?
Give you a damn good thrashing.
Let's get at it. It's our lives. Let's take this time.
There. Cape finished here. We can make a run for it.
It's heading into the wind. We'd never make it.
There's a lighthouse there to guide us.
Lighthouse to show us where the hazards lie.
Unless you're talking just to hear the sound of your own voice, sir. We're as good as hammered into our coffins already. Dead men don't mind where they're put down.
Then you must send again. The Peabrook. News of the Peabrook. Some ship returning home may have signalled Lloyd's at the Lizard about her. Or else the Paris Telegraph.
And why don't you go away home, eh? Captain Lubbock and I can see to all that's got to be done here.
Yes, Captain Lubbock's been very kind.
And then if she's off the coast of Spain, as we suspect, when she's sighted, we'll get a report. And if not, then...
Then we may never hear, may we? You don't have to tell me, Robert. I was a seafarer's daughter before I was a seafarer's wife. The long wait. Weeks, months even, before that bit of wreckage is sighted somewhere that says plain that the ship and her crew are no more. The long wait. It seemed like an eternity already.
And love.
Hard a port! Hard as you can! We're coming in close now!
Too damn close.
She'll stay in one piece long enough, Captain. I mean to run her ashore sweet as a longboat. Men don't drown so easy with rocks to cling to, Captain.
Thank you, Benji. Vaya.
He's safe, Anne. What do you think of that? Captain Baines ran her into the shallows before the timbers gave way. All the men got ashore. There. James is safe.
Yes, I shouldn't have worried. Ship hasn't been launched yet that can sink me.
Coffin, James.
I knew it was bad. Worse for Baines, though.
Mr. Baines?
Aye, and his kin. There's irony for you now. You were so anxious to help them, and you've done for them. Sorry to say. Here, any food in the house?
Done for them?
Aye. All those cables you sent come to the attention of the insurers. Such things do, you know. Now there's to be a full-scale inquiry into the sinking of the Peabrook, with Baines as master held responsible for the deliberate wrecking of his vessel.
But Mr. Baines couldn't have known she was a coffin ship.
He didn't want to know. He was just thinking of the money for his sister.
You're not saying Mr. Baines is guilty?
The inquiry will answer that. We've troubles enough of our own, eh?
Is there nothing we can do to help, Mr. Baines?
Try and help people and you only harm them. Each man must take up his own burden. God help those that haven't the strength, eh?